What's going on, everybody? Didn't
Welcome
really want to
back,
do
guys.
the intro today. This is gonna be a hard episode, but we'll get through it. I'm George Gallo.
And I'm Brandon Miller, and this is the Mecca Sports Podcast. A lot of frustration with the previous nights of sports for us, George.
Yeah, we'll start off with game five. It was a rough one for sure. You're up six, 50 seconds left. You
Not
give
even.
up the you give up the N1 to Maxi, the four-point play. You let him shoot from the logo. I mean, Embiid was stopped. We did a great job of containing Embiid. Maxi couldn't hit a shot. He couldn't miss, and we weren't drawing a double team. We weren't fouling him to send him to the free throw line. Poor management at the end of the game.
Right. And obviously, when it got to that, crucial time in the game where, the Knicks had to spread the ball around because Brunson was getting doubled, but he just couldn't get the ball to other guys' hands. Brunson took, I think, I think it was 12 shots of the game for the Knicks, which is not a bad thing. But at the same time, obviously, when it's starting to not work, you gotta, spread the love a little bit.
Well, it's hard to because n nobody's hitting shots. You're
Right.
trying to the whole game. No one's. I mean, his second best shooter was McBride all game. Devo was non-existent. Josh Hart couldn't hit the rim for his life. I mean, it's Bogey's out. It's
It's
Brunson's got
tough.
to take most of the shots. But
Right.
I mean, how do we lose that game? Yo, I was so pissed off. How do you lose? You close out the series right there, and that's it. Instead, we go back to Philly now, and I'm scared for the game, man. I really am. Tonight's game is gonna be insane.
Right. And obviously, losing that game wasn't ideal for us. Obviously, we could have had that wrapped up in five, got a little extra rest because the Bucks series is going to an extra game. But I think we could come out with a win tonight, in my opinion. I don't think there's gonna be that much of hostility in Philly. I think it's gonna be a lot like the other night where we had a lot of fans there. I think, a lot of our fans know we should have won that game. We just played poorly at the end. But I think if we play like that again, I don't think we let that late game situation slip again.
Yeah, but that's the thing that it's going to be another close game. So you got to tighten
All
up
games are
these
close. Yeah.
late game situations. You can't have Mitchell Robinson on the floor selling seven straight points like that to Maxi to lose us the game or put it in overtime. I
Right.
mean, Josh Hart's throwing the ball over people's head, outlet passes. Brunson had a bad pass to Hartenstein and a miscommunication, but for him to take every single shot in overtime, you don't even realize it when you're watching the game. It's just like
Yeah.
it's just he's just such a ball dominant player, and we have nobody else who really could like dribble. To be honest with you,
Right. It's hard his situation because normally he does have Randall, to relieve some of the pressure off of him, but obviously we don't have Randall, so it makes it tough for him. He has to, take on these double teams. He can't really, spread the love if the guys aren't hitting their shots. It makes it harder on his part. But I kind of see this loss as it's sort of like compensation for our game two win because realistically we didn't deserve that win. We got bailed out.
yeah, there was some contact on the inbound, but I mean,
Realistically, a win's a
yeah,
win. A win's a
yeah,
win.
yeah. I guess you could really say that we didn't deserve that win. But a lot of these calls and a lot of these calls that Philly's getting at the end of the games, they don't deserve half of it either.
They don't.
Yeah, Embiid should have got kicked out of the game for pulling Mitch's leg out. There's so many moving screens and dirty elbows. It's
Right. I
not,
think that there's a
none of the, yeah.
misconception with like the playoffs where like I feel like a lot of like refs let a lot of stuff slide in the playoffs because it's the playoffs. I feel like that shouldn't happen. I feel like you should call the game the way it's played. Because you think about it this way, if that's a regular game where Embiid tugs Mitch's foot down or, he set that crazy screen on Brunson and he elbows him in the face, half the time he's getting thrown from the game. But since it's the playoffs, he's not getting thrown from the game. Definitely the one against
Yeah,
Mitch.
yeah, I do. I mean, come on, man. When you're pulling someone's leg like that, I don't care who you are. I don't care what type of game. If it's an NBA Finals, yeah,
Right.
you could really hurt someone.
And you
Let's
guys,
just put all aside the fans and let's
right.
just look at it as a human to human. You really could hurt someone and ruin their career doing that. That
Right.
there's no. You didn't even get a suspension. He didn't get a fine. Nothing.
Right. And you see some of the best players in the game complaining about the officiating, which never used to happen back in the day. You look at LeBron. I mean, yeah, they lost, but then again, like the officiating in that series was not good. It was very poor. I mean, I think
No,
officiating all around is
yeah,
poor.
it's the whole league. Every game you watch, they pick their superstars that they want to get to the free throw line that game,
Right.
and it's hard to, it's some calls are called one nights, they're not called the other nights. This crew's calling this crew. It's just
It's
it's
known.
they need to find a balance.
Right. It's very known by the players, like what crew calls what. Because crews travel together. So it's not like, you're gonna get a diverse crew every different time. Like if you're stuck with one crew in New York, you're stuck with them for games one and game two. You're
Yeah.
not getting a different crew every game. You're getting the same crew. So God forbid you piss them off one night, you're not gonna have a good night the next night. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you know how hard it is being an official though.
I
Yeah,
understand that. And that's where I give some leniency because I know
yeah.
I would mess up some calls. But then again, I feel like as a spectator of the game, I feel like some calls are so clear cut and obvious that you can't miss those.
Yeah, it's again easier said when feels like it's easier to watch and referee the game on our couch, but
Right.
they're not also getting the same camera angles and seeing what we're seeing. Although they're right on the field with the action, sometimes we get better camera angles and
It's
looks at the
true.
plays than they do, unless they
R-
see replay.
right. And obviously we get more second looks than they do and all the angles, all that good stuff. But we talked a little bit about the Knicks. I think the Knicks are going to be all right. I think either 6 or 7 will still take the series. I'm not really that worried yet. Maybe if they win tomorrow, the Sixers, then I'll be a little worried. But
Yeah,
obviously some teams have been bounced already. The Suns have been bounced. The Pelicans have been bounced. I believe who else was bounced? Was that it? The T Wolves bounced. Who did they
he will
bounce?
bounce Phoenix,
Oh yeah, the T Wolves bounced Phoenix. The Thunder bounced.
Thunder bounced New Orleans, and
And the
we
Celtics
could
are.
possibly yeah we could possibly see in Miami getting bounced in about a half hour or so.
So you look at those 3 teams that get bounced. I feel like there's not a lot of interesting things going on there. I feel like a lot of those teams remain the same, but the Suns is something to be interested about, especially as a Knicks fan, because the Knicks are looking for that superstar player to come to New York. I know it's early to talk about this because we're still in the playoffs, but
Yeah.
out of the Suns' big three, I wouldn't even say big three. I'll say the big two: Devin Booker, KD. If one of those guys were to get traded to the Knicks, who would it be and why?
See, this is difficult. This is the thing about trading. Uh, See, Randall's gonna have to be in a trade for superstar. I don't see
Right,
them giving up Josh Hart or Devo. Obviously, Brunson's off the table. OG is a guy I would like to see them keep
bring
on this
back.
team. I don't want to see him get traded, but it would be interested if they did. But listen, Kevin Durant went to Brooklyn. He could have been to New York already. I don't think he comes to New York. I don't think Devin Booker fits on this team either. I don't really think that's the guy we want to put next to Brunson. I would rather KD. I really
Right.
would rather KD. I think KD fits on this team perfectly. If we had a lineup of Brunson, Devo, OG, KD, and whatever
Mitch.
five we get, maybe it's Mitch. I'm gonna keep saying it. I'm a big Miles Turner advocate. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league, and I think him on the Knicks would be that would be special. Him and Brunson in the pick and roll, pick and pop. That Miles Turner could do it all.
Yeah, I agree. I just think it's gonna be really hard to get him off the Pacers, especially because they're kind of like they're now that they're in the playoffs, they're gonna be like a rival of us for a while because they're not gonna want to give the Knicks players because if they're competing with them, it doesn't really make sense for them to do that. Obviously, they'd have to
Totally.
get a return. I think they would want Randall in return. I don't think I would be set to do that deal yet, to be honest. But you look at players the Knicks could target. I was originally I thought Cat. Now I think no because Minnesota's building something special over there. So
Yeah.
I think Cat's off the table. We're looking for centers, I think, or bigger players. I don't think we're looking for any more guards. I think we'll be okay with Brunson and Hart. I think Brunson and Hart would be fine. But you got to look at like logistics of who's available. And right now, there's not a lot of players that, can shoot the three ball and also play like the center position at a high level that are on the market right now.
Yeah, it's hard to find a stretch five. I wish Randall could play the five. I wish he was a
Right.
little taller. He's a great rebounder. He could shoot the ball.
It's true.
He's physical. He could play defense when he wants to. So that would be cool to see a lineup with a small ball lineup with Hart, OG, Randall,
You know, I just realized
Devo, Brunson.
we didn't even talk about the Lakers. The Lakers got bounced.
Yeah.
LeBron got bounced. LeBron apparently he's looking to either. I don't think he's gonna retire. I think he's the kind of guy that would like a farewell tour. And honestly, I don't see him, just retiring out of the blue, especially because he's going to play with Team USA this summer. So
Now let me ask you something. What if LeBron was to be interested in playing in New York this year,
100% yes.
this
I
coming year?
I see the Knicks. If the Knicks don't win a chip this year, which they likely will not, they're gonna need someone who has experience, who can still play. LeBron can still play. You've seen it every single playoff series he's in. He's the best player on the Lakers team. If you think about it,
On the
he out
Lakers team,
on the Lakers
yeah.
team. He
On the
outperformed.
Lakers team. I thought you were
Yeah.
gonna say on the court. I was like, I
Oh
don't know
hell
about the
no, not
court.
over Jokic. No, but then
Oh.
again, LeBron could still put up 30 on any given night. And he's the one of them. He did it against the Nuggets 2 times. I think with age that obviously starts to slim down a little bit. But if we're gonna give up Randall for him, 100, well, we don't have to give up anyone because he's a free he'll
Free
outlive his
agent.
free agent. Yeah. So then again, like if we can find a way to we don't have to. Obviously, Hartenstein's probably gonna walk. I think unless he takes a cheap deal to come back. We're gonna have Mitch. I think we have Precious. I could be wrong, but
Precious, his deal is up.
so
Uh,
we're gonna need a backup center.
we would have to get rid of probably Bogey's deal. He's got like 18, 19 million.
Yeah, but
Uh, we'd have to give up we'd have to trade Randall probably in a separate deal, get his contract off the books.
do you think LeBron's at this age is worth the supermax, or is
See,
it
I don't know
or
if
is it just because he's LeBron James?
we'll probably just do a 1 year deal. I'll probably do a
Right.
1 year deal with a player option. I don't see him signing any long-term deals anymore in the NBA.
If I'm being honest, there's two places I could really see him going for his farewell tour. It's going to be Miami or Cleveland. I don't think Cleveland just because I don't think they can physically do that, but I think Miami has a shot at LeBron. They're always in the talks with the big guys. Everyone wants to play in
Yeah.
South Beach.
I don't know if Miami, I don't know how he would fit with Jimmy Butler. They got Bam there. Tyler Herro's so inconsistent. See,
Yeah.
he's a guy with so much potential, but he's just such an inconsistent shooter.
And the last team I could really think about would be him and Steph teaming up with the
I
Warriors. That's
think that's the biggest possibility.
right. I heard a lot of talk. They've always wanted to play with each other. I saw a thing the other day where it was like KD, Steph, and LeBron like teaming up with Draymond and then like Looney as the center. That could be a possibility this offseason, realistically. If LeBron doesn't take a supermax, that can happen. 100%.
Yeah, maybe KD goes back to the Warriors.
I could 100% see that.
Clay and Draymond take some pay cuts.
And you want to know I was thinking the other day, I was just randomly thinking, I thought of one of the most interesting ways of retirement. What if Steph Curry, KD, and LeBron, they're all playing for Team USA this summer. What if they called this the farewell tour and all three of them, this was their last time playing? They don't play, regular season. They play the USA farewell tour and that's it. They retire.
No, man. Could you imagine that?
Imagine all three of them doing their farewell tour at the same time. Because you think
You,
about it,
you can,
you think about it, you think of it this way. Think of it this way. LeBron having a farewell tour the same year as Curry, that takes the spotlight off both of them because it's going to be split. I feel like.
yeah, but why would it be on? It probably wouldn't be the same year though.
I don't know. I think it could
Curry's
be.
got a lot more game. Curry's only 35, 36 years old. LeBron's
Yeah,
40.
but KD, maybe not Curry, but KD. I think KD could retire very soon.
He's still got to see. They're younger than LeBron. They're still playing so
I
well.
don't think they can play as long as LeBron though.
And the thing about the USA, how the hell are you gonna give the biggest superstars in NBA history almost a freaking farewell tour and FIBA over in the
It's true.
USA with a
It's
bunch of
true.
bums with morons who don't watch basketball and have freaking different colors on their basketball while they play. It's a joke.
It's true. It's true. So I think we're gonna switch
Like,
over now to the NFL draft. Obviously, that was something we talked about in the prior pod. But George, with the sixth overall pick in the NFL draft, the New York Giants, they selected Malik Neighbors. How do you feel about that one?
I think they finally got it right.
I
They
think so
they
too.
they didn't choke and move up. give away a whole bunch of draft picks for a quarterback. I was looking for them to trade back, get some extra picks. I thought that would have been the move, but neighbors fell right to us at six. Joe Alt, the Chargers took their right tackle. They have Slater now and Alt at tackles, which is going to be nice security for Herbert. But neighbors falling right into us, and obviously it's probably the biggest position of need on our team is a playmaker, number one receiver. I seen him compared to Jamar Chase, but faster.
Oh yeah,
So
everyone
I,
says
I'm
he's the better version.
yeah, so I'm very excited to have another LSU receiver come in and play some ball for us.
You gotta love the smoke screens by Joe Shane and Dable, man. You gotta love them. That whole time, all the smoke screens about quarterback. I understand that I saw a lot of reports they tried to trade up for May, but then again, they didn't force it. They didn't overpay. They stuck to their ground. They were okay with getting, a receiver at six. And I'm happy they did that because they didn't overpay. They stuck it out with Jones. Who knows if Jones is a crazy year? They finally have protection for Jones. They have a receiver one. They have receivers that could break out this year. They have depth at the positions. They drafted a running back in the fifth round who I think he has the highest explosive play rate in like college football.
He's from Purdue, right?
Tyron Tracy. He switched
Yeah,
from wide receiver to running back like his like last like I think it was like 10 games of college, and
yeah,
he
I
had
saw
he had
that.
like the craziest numbers. And you should if you watch his highlight tape, Jesus, man. Jesus.
Well, I like that safety we took Newbin.
Oh, Newman's a ball
I
hawk.
think I think he's gonna be a stud. I think
He's
he's
the
gonna be a stud.
he's like the next Minka Fitzpatrick, bro. Let me tell you.
Yeah, everyone's saying that he's gonna be better than X in a
Oh,
year.
oh,
Give him at the end
100%.
of his rookie year, and he'll be better than X.
You got to think about it. X didn't really have a good year until this year, and he was on a contract year, so you can't really say much because every player has a good year in their contract year because they're trying to get paid.
Yeah, I mean, it also to think about it, we were kind of terrible this year too. So we were always on defense
Right. He
constantly.
had a lot of chance to
So
make plays.
yeah, so I mean, not that he's not a bad player, but everything was kind of in his favor to have a good season.
Right, and then in the third round, we drafted a great. We had a great third pick. Andrew, what's his name? Jackson out of Kentucky.
Yeah,
Yo,
corner out of Kentucky. We got a nice boundary corner.
oh my gosh, him and Banks are going to be something because they're both dogs. They both like to talk a lot of trash. They both like to get physical at the line. They're not scared to play press. It's going to help the Giants because now they can bring those blitzes. And you got to think about it. Now with the Giants, the way their line is built, you can't, you can't double team. What, you're going to double team Dexter Lawrence and then what? Leave Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau one on one? That's
Yeah.
stupid. That's stupid. Like it doesn't make sense. You can't do that. It doesn't matter who we put out there. And then we brought Simmons back, who's a nice player to blitz with. Newman's gonna be a nice player to blitz with. Like we're gonna have
Yeah,
a
we got
quarterback, even the
Belton's.
corners. Yeah,
They use Belton as like as like a linebacker, like a safety in the box. They like him blitzing a lot. Pinnock had a few sacks last
right.
year. So
And we
I mean,
drafted what's his name? What was the guy we drafted? It was the last round of the draft, but we drafted this linebacker out of UCLA who should not have fell that far.
UCLA.
He should not have fell that far. It's just because realistically, it was such an offensive heavy draft, and a lot of teams needed offense that they stacked up on the position. Realistically, that guy was like the third best linebacker available, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, so I think there was like two guys. I think one of them went to the Eagles, and another one went somewhere else. But honestly, the Eagles did have a good draft. Thinking about it, actually,
Yeah. Look at the Eagles taking two of the three top ranked corners in the draft.
honestly, that's they needed it though. They really did need that. Their defense lagged. I think it was 29th in pass last year.
Yeah, horrible. A lot of
That's
injuries at the back end. They had no depth there. They're all
right.
old. So they listen. The Eagles always do well. Every
They
single
find a way.
draft, they always get the top guys that fall in the draft. They always trade. How many trades do they do during the draft? I mean, look at all the late round picks that he acquired. How many freaking fourth and fifth round trades is he doing that getting extra picks for next year? And he's just keep doing the same thing. He really finessed the system. He knows the ins and outs of being an NFL GM and running the team under the salary cap.
Right, and you saw he extended both his what's it called his receivers. Yet Devontae Smith, he gave him a deal. He gave AJ Brown a deal right before the draft. They got those guys locked up.
They
Now
just
they all
locked
now
up. They just locked up the left tackle too.
yeah, that's my
Malati.
Lotta. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're doing pretty well for themselves. I'm not gonna lie, they're gonna be good for a couple years. But the Cowboys, man, and if you're a Cowboys fan, I am so sorry because I mean, the biggest move you guys can say that you guys did was sign Zeke.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, they drafted poorly. They should not have drafted Tyler Guyton. That was they did not need the tackle that bad. Respectfully, they needed it. They could have got a center. They could have got Jackson Powers from Oregon. They could have done so much better things. They could have got they. Oh man, I feel bad for the
Well,
Cowboys.
yeah, they're looking at it as the tackle of the future. They lost Tyron Smith.
Right,
That so you kind of need a tackle. A left tackle is, other than quarterback and edge rusher, probably the third most important position.
right. But the guy doesn't even
It,
play
it's
left tackle. He plays right. So
it's good. So he'll play both. Just
probably
like Tyler Smith was a guard, and now he plays left tackle. He played right tackle. The Cowboys do that with a lot of their linemen. They'll draft a guy at one position, and he'll move around. It's just good to have more depth at each position. A guy who could play both sides.
right. So before we wrap things up, I want to ask you. So I want to hear your three teams that are winners from the draft and your three teams that are losers from this NFL draft.
So I'll start with the winners first.
Winners
I think
first.
the Giants honestly were winners. I
Correct.
think neighbors falling to us. It
Just
was a
makes us a
steal.
winner. Right.
Yeah, I think Arizona is a winner.
Oh yeah, Arizona had an
Not
amazing
only
draft.
not only did they get their future wide receiver, they shored up the defense as well. They
Hmm.
took an edge rusher. They took a corner. I think they had a good draft as well. And a third team I'm gonna have to pick. I think the Jets had a good draft.
I was gonna
I,
say that. I think the Jets had a really good draft.
and
That sucks
everyone's
to
making
say.
fun of them for taking a tackle, but you need depth at that position. Nobody understands how important it is to have depth. You have two 30-plus-year-old tackles. Those guys are not going to play 17 games a season. You got
Right.
your tackle of the future, and he's probably going to play a decent amount this year as well.
Right. And then you think about it, they also have like if you think about the quarterback situation, they drafted a guy, Jordan Travis, who had probably one of the worst injuries I've ever seen in my life. But he fell because of that. He would have been a second round quarterback if he didn't get injured. And then you look at the other two
Yeah.
quarterbacks, they got Tyrod Taylor and then Aaron Rodgers is the starting quarterback. None of those guys are durable at the moment. So you need to protect those guys. I know all Jets fans I talk to, they're all mad they didn't draft Bowers. But realistically, if they drafted Bowers there, I think it's a huge mistake because you look at, who they got in the backfield as a quarterback, they really don't have guys that are mobile like that. And they're playing Rodgers until he gets injured or something like, Rodgers is the starting quarterback and there's no other
Yeah.
determinant. Rodgers isn't going to get benched or anything. They made a trade for him. So it's kind of like, you have to protect him at all costs.
Yeah, especially with his age coming off an injury, and again, I can't stress the importance of having your tackles healthy and actually playing games. It's nice that you got two guys on paper that are very good, and the past 10 years they've been good, but the chances of them playing and staying healthy for more than 50% of the games is unlikely, I would say, to be honest with you.
Right. And so let me hear I will give you one loser. Give us one loser of this draft.
I think it's obvious the Atlanta Falcons. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, I get the whole thing of Kirk Cousins. He's got the whole 2-year deal like Daniel Jones does. They could get it out after 2 years. Um, but you're putting all your eggs in the basket now, the win now. Might as well give him some help on the defensive end because you got a great unit over there. Defensively, it was top 10 defense last year, but just no edge rushers. Go out and get an edge rusher. It's not like it's going to make the difference or put you over the edge now because there's a lot of teams in the NFC that are a lot better than Atlanta, but it could make them the clear front runner for their division.
Right. And so I'll, let you know my three winners and my one loser. So honestly, they're pretty similar, but I think the Eagles are definitely winners. I think we talked about that before. I think the Eagles had a
Yep.
good draft. I will say I don't want to sound biased with the Giants, so I won't say them, but I do think they're winners. But
Yeah,
they
yeah,
really are. They really are. I think so. The Eagles are winners. I'll say the Jets are winners because I also like the guy they drafted in the third round, Malachi Corley. I think he's going to be a good backup because Mike Williams won't last more than 4 games. And if he does, props to them, but it probably won't happen. And then
yeah.
the last team I think had a really good draft. To be honest, I really like what the Indianapolis Colts did. I think they got really good value. What they got Adonai Mitchell, who's a receiver out of Texas, who's projected to go in the first round. They got him at pick 52, almost in the third round. This is
Hmm.
ridiculous value. I think he's going to be a great receiver. And I'll give you one more winner. I like what the Chiefs did. They got the fastest receiver in the draft. That offense, just because of that addition alone, is going to kill. And then they go grab that guy, Penei Sewell's cousin, Kingsley Suamata, the left
Yep.
tackle. They're going to be, I'm telling you, the Chiefs are going back to back to back. I don't care what you say. Predicting it right now. Chiefs going back to back to back. My loser of this draft, I don't know. This is hard. Dallas Cowboys is the basic answer, but I really don't know. It's hard to think of a loser because this draft class was so talented that it's hard to call someone losers. I don't even know. I'm gonna say the Dallas Cowboys. I'm sorry. Maybe it's because I don't like them, but they just didn't impress me with this draft at all. They didn't add anyone
Yeah.
that I'm like scared of or anything as a Giants fan. And I should be scared of the Cowboys as a Giants fan. We haven't beat them in a pretty long time, but they haven't changed. So realistically, to me, they're beatable. We just got to go out there and play well,
Yeah. I mean, they got worse this year.
right?
That's a fact. They got worse.
Less explosive, less dynamic on defense. They lost so many guys. I'm not worried about the Dallas Cowboys at all. It's going to come
No,
down.
me
Trust
neither.
me. I think Dallas Cowboys right now, this is my prediction, last seed in the NFC East.
Uh,
Washington got really good in this draft. I'm telling you right now, Washington had a great draft.
yeah, I still think we're gonna be last though. I hate to break it to you.
No, not happening. All right, now you maybe you're right. But that's all the time we have for this episode on the Mecca Sports Podcast. George, this is my buddy. And obviously he's calling out my delusions with the Giants, but it's all good. We'll wrap
Yeah,
it
all
up.
good.
We'll see you guys next time.
Yep. Thank you. See you guys soon.